Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today's guest is an engaging storyteller who's known for being a corporate parlor magician, performing a profound art in a way that's intriguing and mysterious while being a truly fun guy. He lives in Southern California, but is often flying to New York City to perform for finance businesses, legal firms, and the like. I want everybody to please welcome David Harbour. All right, welcome to the show, everybody. Today we have the Magic Lover's Magician, David Harbour. David, welcome to the show.
Thank you for that really nice introduction. My name is David Harbour, and I am a corporate parlor magician. I also do close-up and hospitality suites at trade shows and special events. But I'd like to think of myself as an engaging storyteller who accentuates all of his stories with magic. I perform a profound art in a way that's intriguing, mysterious, and a lot of fun. And I'm lucky enough to do it for over 30 years. My clientele is mostly East Coast, New York City, because that's where I'm from. So think corporate headquarters, financial service companies, and law firms, or special events, private events for people who have seen me perform. Based in Southern California. So while I enjoy the miles and the perks, I also like just having an hour turnaround travel time. So what magic means to me, magic is just a way of communicating in a very fun way. I get to connect, I get to engage, and I get to share a room with happy people for an hour and a half, and it's lovely.
So I've done a lot of these interviews. I talked to a lot of magicians, and most of them professional magicians, working magicians. When you're out there, would you say that you would do it for free without it doesn't matter what was going on? Would you go do that for free if you weren't getting paid for it?
Yes. We do pre-show stories and talk, and you and I have gotten very close. And there are some stories in which, yes, because the true love of what I do and what I get back from the audience connects. An aside is about 3 weeks ago, I was at the Magic Castle in Los Angeles. My daughters and I were in the YMCA Indian Princess program and sponsoring all the girls, about 200 girls and their dads, for brunch at the Magic Castle. Once you have a bite to eat at brunch, you're given a ticket to either the Palace or the Parlor. In this case, it was the Palace. And I normally ask the magicians, the talent afterward, to come out and answer 3 questions to the girls. And they do. This was Eric Buss and Stuart Mcdonald. So they both came out, and Eric talked about live energy and how, and it was just so exciting, and he was talking and animated. He was great. Have you seen Stuart Mcdonald's Fizzamac?
I have not. I know who he is. I have seen some stuff, but I haven't seen the Fizzamac, no.
You need to. What I would do is I would even Google an old Fool Us episode, which he did. And the act that he's now put for FISM is just outstanding, and it's lovely, and it's warm. The connection is there to everybody in the audience. And one girl asked, does he ever change anything, any tricks? How does he decide what? A great question. How does he decide what to put in, what to take out? And he thought about it for a minute, and he said, I just look to you. You tell me what I take in and what I take out.
That is such a true statement.
And he's such a humble and very talented man. I'm just talking with him afterward. It's what we do. So now to come full circle, would I do it? Yes. But I need to pay rent, keep the lights on, and do more. It's a part of me. It's part of my personality. Anyone who knows me for as many years, even new people that know me, know that this is what I love doing. This is what I adore doing. It's a part of my personality.
And that's exactly what I was hoping to hear, because when I think about it in that way, I like to think that, yeah, I would absolutely do that for free. It's so great. It's so much fun, but obviously you got to pay the bills. So it's it's a question that's not really answerable. But if you didn't have to worry about money, right?
I'd be doing this every day.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I love doing it. It's so much fun.
And Mark Wilson used to, when he was selling himself to different radio shows and television shows in Dallas and Texas area, he always had tricks on him to sell, to show. And so I do too. And so almost every day I'm doing a free little show anyway.
Advertising.
Yes, yes.
So what kind of magic do you actually do? What's your specialty? What do you narrow it down to?
Okay, now it's really interesting. When I first started, it was all about me with sleights. Look what I can do. I can determine what card you have. I could make ropes appear the same length. I can restore a rope. I can restore a card. Look what I could do. And it was okay, but I couldn't cross over that threshold until I became a partner with my audience, till I became an advocate. I was the one who could make magic happen in your hands. I would tell a story. I would engage you. It would be so interesting, so intimate that you'd want to be a part of it. And then part of the story, the ending, if you will, would happen in your hand or in your ear or something that you'd never expect. So I'm more of an arbiter of magic than look at me. So the tricks that I do, and the common names for magicians are disappearances and reappearing out of unexpected places. Yeah, the unexpected. I'll have a sucker trick in there. Actually, it sounds horrible to say that, but tricks in which the audience is involved. I try and get as many people in the audience as possible so that the person that I call up, whether it be a stage or to the floor, is a representative of that group. And so in his or her eyes, you can see and you can imagine what's happening, and it just pervades throughout the audience.
That's the part that really sucks about what happened with COVID. And,
yes.
I mean, I love doing my virtual shows and they're great and whatever, but it's not the same as being there and having the reaction of people, because that's what I would build off of. Is my show would be based on what you give me, right? I will show you something, and however you respond is the direction that the show goes, right? But you can't do that on virtual shows. So you lose the intimacy. So how do you get that back? What do you do?
Well, I'll tell you what I've done, and what other magicians have done and are doing is you send things, or what I've done is I've sent things to the venue, to the party, so that these objects become part of the show. There's a team building trick I do. You know these little card boxes that you can make? You take two cards, right? So part of the homework is that everyone there has to make a card box. And certain enough, I'll know ahead of time which card box has a certain card in it.
Okay.
So while everyone has their cards and everyone has their boxes, I keep track with the help of the host where the box that I need to. So when someone does pick the Queen of Clubs, okay, Mary, you've made this yourself. Yes. No, they didn't look at.
That's a pretty clever idea, actually.
Right. So team building, everyone is working on making their box and looking right, and they have one lid. Okay, now just open it. Now I have a card. Do you have a card? No, I have a card box. Well, look inside the card box, and this is the card they think they made. There's a connection. And then everyone all of a sudden takes their boxes too, and they take this home. And since I started doing this, maybe about 10 years ago, there are people, I get repeat business. There are people that still have this on their desk.
That's awesome.
Or at home.
That's such a great idea. I love just the thought behind that. I mean, that's great. Perfect idea. So speaking
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, so what I would think, or any advice I would give, is to talk to the host, and whether you have a questionnaire or make one up, find out interests of the guests. Find out what makes that company tick. What's important? What do you talk about every day? What do you see every day? What do you want? Where do you approach? Get intimate with your customer, with your client, so that you are a partner, you're a friend. And so something like this, you need team building, especially with COVID. Well, now people are starting to get back together. I don't know with the new strain, but people are starting to get back together. This would be a great opportunity they can make, or even bring to the Zoom show. So I've done it as well, where I have 20 screens and everyone has their box. And, or show me your box. And when they show me, I open it up, show me the back, and I'll look at one. If I see a card, show me one. And then what you can't see is I have a deck. And so I'm getting that card, that forced card. And okay, you, Tom, and I know what box he has. And how could you do that? This box is in here in Pasadena or Puxatawney, Pennsylvania. How did you do that? So you have to bridge, you have to break that fourth wall.
But what's funny is if you look back before COVID, right, and you saw somebody doing magic in that way, where they're on camera and something out of the frame is happening, right, that nobody can see, right, and then boom, the magic happens. And then magicians all over the world are upset because this person did something that you can't do that live, so, you're cheating, right? And then all of a sudden COVID comes in 2020, and then all of magic switches to what's in that rectangle, right?
Yes, and Jamie, go ahead.
So if you were to explain to just a regular person what you were trying to accomplish using these techniques, why is it okay to do it now and it wasn't okay to do it then?
You see, I don't believe that. And I think that goes to another discussion we've had before, one of the first ones we've had, about methods.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do a certain vanish, or is it okay just to drop it and show the coin? The customer, the end user, the client is not going to know which vanish you have, is not going to know whether you're holding it with your pinky.
They don't care. No.
They don't care. And I necessarily don't think that we need to care. What's going to show the best effect? What's going to really bring you? What's going to engage you? What's going to say, hey, that's great, and bring you closer? And for the magician's part, prove that you are the person who can make magic. What's going to bring you closer? It doesn't matter where or how you do it. It's how you engage with your customer.
I think that's a fairer way to look at it. That's the way it should be looked at. But
now, don't get me wrong. With my friends, or since I've been doing this since I was 7, if I can do a great vanish or a great sleight of hand, it's purely for me.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm going, yes, I can still do that, or yes, I did that. But on the end user, it should just be what's going to look fantastic or blow my mind.
So today we're talking about something that I'm actually very excited about.
Okay, sure.
Okay, because it was a year ago you were getting this made, and
yes.
there was no way for me to see it or to believe it was real. And so now that it's done, it's ready to go. You're gonna perform this for us, aren't you?
I will show it to you. Since it was just performed last night, the things before or afterward are still in my bag, but I'll show you the actual tree itself. And for those that don't know, it's the orange tree, Robert Houdin's orange tree, and I had this specially made for me, and it's my closer. And believe it or not, I've done it now. Let's see, I have 6 customers who have seen it twice already, and they just love seeing it. The hard part is trying to do something before or after, and you'll see why in a moment. But this is my orange tree. Let me get it for you. There it is, and no one really sees it or says, "Wait, is that the orange tree?" And I have it all ready to prepare, so that if someone were to say, "Is that it?" I can do it. And I got that lesson from the amazing Randy. James Randi used to live in Red Bank, New Jersey. And also a million years ago, I had a magic club called the Monmouth County Magicians. And I interviewed Randy at his house in Red Bank. And when I went to his house, which is another episode, there were decks of cards by the fireplace. By a coffee table, there were some coins. And I would say, "Oh, what's this?" and try to touch it. He'd say, No, don't touch it. He said, "Well, what's it for?" I said, "Well, in case someone comes over to my house and says, 'What is that?'" So I said, "Mr. Randy, I'm saying, 'What is that?'" He said, "No, you're not someone." So I took that and different things around my house. There's a story with the poster there, with the mask that's here, with this clock. And of course, the orange tree is all set to go. But I'm going to bring it a little closer, and I'll show you. But the setup is that I borrow a wedding ring. and I offer, which box would you like to put it in? And I have different ring boxes, a blue one from Tiffany's, a red from Cartier, a black from Harry Winston. I also have a gumball, an opaque gumball sphere, or a paper bag. And usually they end up picking the high-end Cartier, Harry Winston, Tiffany box, and they hold it. Oh, it puts it, it's closed, and she holds it on her lap, doesn't touch it. Also, during the evening, I have someone pick a fruit, and this particular evening they picked an orange. Someone else picks a number. They picked 5. And then when I say my last trick, and thank you very much, everyone still wants to see something else. And this is what I showed. Talk about Robert Houdin and different things that he did. And as we're going on, the music comes up. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it a little bit, yeah.
Okay. And I talk about, remember what we had. We had a ring. We had fruit. And as it goes on, you see the little orange blossoms that come out. And I talk more about what it meant for this woman, for this ring, and the engagement process. Now, we remembered which fruit we had. And these orange blossoms, and before the show, I will spritz some orange. Can you see the orange blossoms?
You can, yes.
Perfect.
Oh my God.
And then the fruit.
That looks so...
Now, during the show, this is real, and I'll hand them out afterward. This is supposed to open too. Now, what else am I missing? And someone say, oh, my ring. And in true orange tree form, the butterflies. And her ring would be right over here. And then she'll open the box, it'll be empty. But this is something that I do, and I just got something else from Peter Samuelson. Actually, permission, I'll tell you what. Take the ring. And I said, now, how did your husband propose to you? Oh, well, they'll tell me the story. Well, how would you like to do it again? In this way, pick a ring, a box, and then they'll pick the Tiffany or the Cartier, or half people pick the paper bag. So we put it in, and then on stage, I have the man on one knee propose again to his wife. Or I've had wife to wife, and I've had husband to husband. But Peter Samuelson does something, and I just got permission for him to do so, and thank you very much, Peter, is I'm going to snap a picture of them re-proposing and then give it to them as a gift.
Oh, that's cool.
And this is the orange tree.
That is so awesome. I've been waiting for so long to see that.
Well, before the interview, you and I talked about coming to LA and a Dodger game. So when you do accept my invitation, come to a Met Dodger game, come back to my house, and then you can see it for yourself. Yeah, I'll sit down. For the clientele that I have, and again, this is C-suites, department heads, CEOs, law firm, accounting firm partners, and so forth. Something like this is something that they don't see. And the way I'm, again, knock wood, lucky to be doing what I'm doing for so long is I have something that's very unique. The show that I do, I'd like to think that they can't see anywhere else. And for what I don't use that hasn't been done for a couple of 100 years, is really original stuff. And if it's something I borrow, it's unique or my take, so that no one else could do what I do. So now I want to see how many of my friends who watch this or have been to my home say, I thought, or I didn't want to ask, but you've all seen this, and hardly any of you have asked.
Maybe you and I might have talked about this before, about magicians are allowed to have weird shit. Right? We're allowed to have a magic wand. We're allowed, there you go, just like that. You're allowed to have that. You're allowed to have a box, and people aren't going to question it. You can have a live rabbit, and
yes,
right? So we're allowed to bring out weird stuff. So I don't think.
But there has to be a need for it. Why?
Oh yeah, there has to be a reason for everything. There's always got to be a reason for everything.
Right. So if there's a reason for it and it makes sense, and this thing, as plain as it is, it holds cue balls. A lot of people in America don't know about other pool or billiard type games in other countries.
Those
So
look like
you
like
make it up.
snooker balls.
Right. So these are five snooker balls, and everyone knows how to play snooker, and no one knows. So of course,
Nobody knows.
oh really? Let me tell you.
So, if you had something you wanted to pass along to somebody else, because you're an experienced magician, you've been doing it for a very long time, you have a successful show, you know what you're doing. If you were going to give some advice to some of the younger generation that are trying to get into magic, mentalism, whatever it may be, what should they know?
I don't think it should be any type of tricks. I should be to know yourself, to find your voice. Now, I have peers that say the best way to learn magic is by books. Other peers say no. There's such a gluttony of online lectures and YouTube and so forth. To know yourself. Now, sure, when you first learn a trick, you'll do the pattern, the mannerisms of whoever is showing you the trick. But the more you learn, the more you perform it, the more in front of other people, the more you'll find your voice. What's great about books is that it isn't as clear as a video, as something streaming, as a lecture online. So you have to make up stuff in between the lines, what to do when you get from there to here. So the more you perform, like a writer needs to write, you need to perform in front of your friends, at a library, at a hospital, um, online for people who need to see someone or need some happiness in their lives. Just perform again and again and again. You'll find your voice. So what I would tell someone new is, and the way you find your own voice is to rehearse it differently, rehearse it in the dark, rehearse it with your eyes closed, rehearse it in front of friends, even the friends that have seen it or know it, rehearse it again. Um, Perform as much as possible, because that trick will slowly become, as best it can, your own. If you're trying too hard. If you have honest people or mentors or magicians that really are faithful to you, that could be wonderful too.
Because magic is not something that you can sign up for at university or sign up for college and take magic courses and learn the art of magic and learn improv and all this stuff from like a place. It is learned by us passing down the art to other people, right? So for somebody, picture a 10-year-old kid that wants to learn magic. They're like, oh, I love magic. This is so great. I saw some stuff that I want to really, really learn this. And then what?
Okay.
Where do I go? What do I do? How do I find somebody? And then, so if they're into it, they're going to find some books. They're for sure going to find some books. Back when I started, there wasn't YouTube and all that. You didn't have that resource. But, they can look up on YouTube and get ideas. But how do you find somebody that's near? Like, they don't have to be near you, but in reality, if you could have somebody in person, it'd be better to meet somebody that you can learn from and grow and get better.
I think that now in today's world, it's so much easier than when I was a kid, or even when you were a kid, and I'll tell you why. There are online magic clubs that sometimes have a lecturer. You have there's one called an online club, the Conjurers Community. They recently had Eric Mead on. Fantastic, as only Eric could have a fantastic lecture.
I actually watched it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure if you emailed, so I think it was part of a program. So I think for $1 or a quarter, you join Conjurers Community for the first 3 months, and you can hear Eric Mead. I guarantee you, a 10-year-old kid, and you emailed Eric Mead, said, I saw you on Conjurers Community. Can I ask you questions? He would say yes. Other side of the country, Eric DeCamps. Who else? Joe Monte. Fantastic sleight of hand artist. Me.
Guess what that means? If you guys are watching this still, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask somebody. If you see somebody do something and you are truly interested and you want to learn, don't be afraid to ask. The worst thing that can happen is they say no. But guess what? If you are truly into it and you tell another magician what you're feeling, they are going to feel it too. And they're going to be proud that you asked. They're going to be so happy and be so willing to try and help you out. So please take that chance and ask the question.
And again, I don't get when other magicians don't do that.
Okay, so David, I really appreciate you being on the show.
Sure, I appreciate you having me.
I love talking to you. It's so much fun. It's like we have the same brains or something like that. It's weird, but I had such a good time. And thanks for being on the show. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
No, just take a look at davidharbour.com. That's my website. And if there are any young magicians that are watching, please contact me, and I'd love to help out any way I can.
And I'll put that information on the screen.
Oh,
Once
great.
again, thanks a lot, David. It's been great.
Thank you, pal.
All right.